Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're here with a special midweek edition of the FILA Sports Podcast with your boy, Coach Mario, and my partner, Don. What's going on, Don?
What's good, everybody? We're back once again for another show this week for you guys. Just seeing a lot of negativity, going on social media. So we really had to have this show, and we brought a special guest on. I'm pretty sure he came on a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure some of you guys who listen to us, y'all know who he is, but we still gonna let him introduce himself.
Hey, what's going on, everybody out there? So, the Real Pattman here coming to you guys. It's a pleasure, man. I feel honored once again to be allowed on y'all show, man.
We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, we do, man. Anytime, man. Anytime. We really appreciate it. Um, so like I said, it's a special show that we having this week. And we still want you guys to come in and watch our video. It's gonna be talking we're pretty much gonna be talking about the Falcons pass rush. A lot of people have a lot of, I guess, takes and opinions on what the Falcons are gonna do the rest of this offseason via the draft or free agency. So we just really want to clear things up and pretty much give our takes on it as well. Once again, and please hit that subscribe button as well. And once again, come holler. It's your
It's your
home.
hometown sports podcast.
All right. So, all right.
Uh, Not much going on this week. Today, Ronald Acuna signed a 8-year extension with the Braves, 100 mil. I saw some people saying that they think that's low, but not at all. I mean, he's a rookie potential. He still has to put up some numbers first, and also he's 21. So in baseball, you sign that big deal in your late mid 20s, just like uh, uh, the two big deals we just saw signed a couple weeks ago. Both of those guys are what, 27, 28. So at the end of this deal, which he obviously won't play all 8 years, if he continues to do what he's been doing 4 or 5 years, he'll break the bank because he's not going to play through all 8 of those. They'll tear it up and do another one.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna say five. I say four at the rate he's playing. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
right
they'll
now
tear
it
it
is
up.
that is looking at it now, it is a steal. $100 million for 8 years. You know, and all that's guaranteed money, by the way.
Silly.
Oof, boy, boy,
Yeah.
boy.
And on one more thing that major happened today, the AAF suspended operations. Does that mean them boys ain't getting no check this week?
They ain't getting paid, man.
Oh, that ain't no good, bro. Man, imagine having to come home and tell your old lady, yeah, they ain't gonna pay us this week.
Yeah, I saw talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought some Johnny Manziel posted something about like this might be our last.
Mm. Yeah,
He
boy,
came
you ain't
for
telling people that.
Yeah, he came for the Canadian Football League. He was guaranteed money up there. Came down here, you know, to the AF, and
Hey,
right now they ain't trying to pay him.
let's just say if I worked in the front office of an AAF team, I'd be on vacation the rest of the week. Them boys gonna show up mad, and I ain't gonna be there.
Yeah, it's that's getting ugly, man. I just saw something on there that man, apparently the league wasn't covered by insurance or something. So the Orlando Apollos, who was like the best team in the AAF, are practicing in Georgia because Florida law excludes professional athletes from receiving workers' compensation. Basically, they don't consider professional athletes in Florida to be workers or employees. So they them boys got to practice in Georgia so they could get onto Georgia's law. I'm like, that's crazy, man.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
And I wanted,
That
like I
is
said, I wanted this league to grow, and I wanted them to be successful because you got to think about it like this here. You know, like everybody can't play in the NFL, okay? But the AAF and the XFL, who pretty much come back next year in 2020, like players can go to those leagues and showcase themselves instead of going all the way to Canada and go to the Canadian Football League. But I really wanted that league to thrive.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. I think they kind of messed up, man, by honestly putting those teams in major market cities that already have NFL teams. Like, to me, the AAF should have from the jump been a developmental league for the NFL. That way they branching off on the NFL's money, you know, because the NFL got long money. You know what I'm saying?
the,
So the AAF could have been good because of them. But I also think, man, that they should have put them close to markets that had NFL teams, but not in them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like the Atlanta Legend, especially with the purple man, like that wasn't nobody was gonna, jump onto that team, especially the way they started out. But like if they would have put the team in like Savannah, Macon, even if they would have put it out in Kennesaw, let them play up at Kennesaw State Stadium or something like that.
I thought it would have been they could have put them in Georgia Southern, put them in
Yeah,
Statesboro.
they could have put them in State or anywhere and just had them not associate themselves particularly with the city of Atlanta. I think they would have been a lot better off. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think a big problem is, the biggest revenue stream has to be the TV money. But outside of the TV money, there is no money because they're charging ridiculous amounts for the tickets. So nobody's buying tickets, which means you aren't going to the game, which means you aren't buying merchandise, which means you aren't buying concessions. So that stream of money that the owners, that other stream of money they get, operations, they're losing money there because if you're gonna charge $200 for a ticket, who's going to see that? So they outprice themselves out of the market.
Right.
yep, I agree. I agree.
Well, easy come, easy go. I guess we move on to the big boy football. Sorry, Legends fan. Man, I wonder what. After this, I gotta definitely check the Legends Twitter. That's gonna be real interesting. Um, but the topic of tonight, pass rush, and I know the real Pattman definitely had some things he wanted to get off his chest and tell us. So go ahead and let us know what's on your mind.
Yeah, the floor is yours,
Oh
Pat.
man. So I'm seeing. I spend a lot of time on Twitter, man, and I see a lot of. There's so many different groups that have their own opinion or perspective on what the team needs to do to improve its pass rush. And I'm not saying any particular group is wrong, but I will say this: there's four things. Now I'm not gonna get down into the nitty gritties of technique and stuff like that because we all know that's what you need. But there's four things that a successful pass rush needs. You either got to have one of those things or a combination of them. The first, you need personnel. You need the people that can get to the quarterback. All right, that takes care of technique. That takes care of size, versatility, all that stuff. All right. So on top of that, you also need scheme. You need to have a scheme that could get the pass rush home. A lot of people don't realize that the D line is not the only responsibility for the pass rush. All right, a pass rush is just that, the ability to get to the quarterback. So that could come from the secondary, that could come from your linebackers, your D line. As long as you could get home, that's your pass rush. Then you also need coverage on the back end, right? It don't matter how good your D line is if your back end coverage is bad, especially underneath. The quarterback's always going to get the ball out before your pass rush can get home. And then last, you need an offense that can score points. Because when a team can play with a lead like we did in 2016, they can pin their ears back and go get the quarterback, and they don't have to worry about defending the run as much.
Yeah.
So those four things to me are the major points that you need to have a pass rush. Now, the issue with the Falcons is we've always lacked in at least one of those categories, right? So when we had the personnel to go get the quarterback, our coverage underneath and our coverage on the back end wasn't all there. It was kind of hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? When we had the pieces on the back end, we didn't have the pieces on the front end. Then, when we have the pieces on the front end and the coverage, the scheme didn't really work out to where our guys could get home. And that's one of the reasons why this goes untalked about. Dan Quinn has fired both his defensive coordinators in only 4 years. 2 defensive coordinators fired in 4 years. And Richard Smith from 2015 and 16 and Marquand Manuel in 17 and 18. The reason why they were fired was because in this scheme is predicated off of rushing 4, dropping 7 into coverage. If you cannot get home with 4, you must send extra. And the problem is, and a lot of times you blame the players for this, but I'll give you a perfect example, right? New Orleans Saints were playing Drew Brees, 3rd and long, opportunity to get the defense off the field. They rush 3, drop 8 in the coverage. Easy conversion for the Saints. Why are you rushing three players against Drew Brees? That's not knowing your opponent. On that particular down, maybe you want to send a 5th guy to force the issue, so that you're dictating when the quarterback's going to throw the ball, and not the quarterback dictating when he's going to throw the ball. So things like that have been a constant problem. I've gone on record to talk about Vic Beasley, man. A lot of people are saying he's a bust. Yeah, he hasn't worked out the way that we hoped. We thought that 2016 was the real Vic Beasley, but it turns out that wasn't. But there's also points that Vic Beasley Jr. could have been moved around the formation and used a little bit better. Maybe you could have dropped them off ball as a Sam, or maybe put him at Mike and let him blitz the A-gap or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know why in 2018 we kind of just forgot that we were one of the most successful teams in 2016 and 2017 on stunts. We just didn't do that. And that's those are some of the things that got Marquand Manuel fired.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you got to understand too, 2016 with our D line, we didn't have the best D line, but we had depth. We had a lot of veterans as well. You got to realize we still had Babineau.
We had Freeney, but above all, we had an offense that was historically good at scoring points. Yeah. So those boys, man, when they got on the field, they knew that teams had to play catch up, so they could spin their ears back with the quarterback. 2017, we didn't have that, and it showed. So for me, man, if this pass rush is going to get back to, get to a point where it's dominant, first and foremost, player development is key. I'm not saying Dan Quinn doesn't know how to develop players or D linemen. That's not what I'm saying. But at this juncture, we expected a little bit more from Tack. Grady Jarrett had a good year, but we expected a little bit more from him. You know what I'm saying? We expected Grady Jarrett to be on the level of a Geno Atkins. You know what I'm saying? And the contract that he's about to get is going to be on the level of a guy like Geno Atkins, possibly on the level of a guy like Fletcher Cox. So that's what you would hope and see from him. Vic Beasley Jr., man, he started off the year terrible, missing tackles, missing sacks, and stuff like that. You hope that Dan Quinn, working with him, he can get you more production. And I actually kind of went through Football Outsiders and tracked pressures. And Grady, Vic, and Tack were our 3 best guys in terms of getting pressure. They had the most on the team. Those 2 combined for 77.5 pressures, which equates to being 18th in the league. All right. This those 3 guys. All right, because generally most teams are either 1 main pass rusher, or maybe they're 2, maybe 3 guys deep, and the rest of those guys are solid depth pieces that can provide contribution. And the problem is, and I know the next topic we're going to talk about is probably going to be a little controversial. That's one of the reasons why, for me, I don't really necessarily think a guy like Ed Oliver is the answer. Because to me, we haven't developed the guys we already have to their potential. Yeah. And one of the issues, and we're probably going to talk about this next, is leadership on the team and the ability to complement the guys already in the roster to maximize them. I don't think Ed Oliver is going to provide enough of that to help maximize the guys that's on the roster. And I mean, that's just the way tops of it, man. There's so much more that you could talk about with this. But I know you guys probably want to get into this next topic, man, because it's very, very controversial.
Yeah, I I agree with everything you said. You got to have people to compliment on our, especially with our D line. And a lot of people keep talking about Ed Oliver this, Ed Oliver that, and some people saying Brian Burns and Jacob Polite first round. And I'm saying to myself, we really, that's not real. That's not, to my opinion. My opinion. I don't feel like that's what we need. Like, if we can just get somebody like a Christian Wilkins, we need somebody big. Okay, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence will, to me, I think will it make our line better? Could be, but those are the picks we really need because if you seen what the Rams did last year, all right, they know they had a special player, Aaron Donald, right? So what did they do in 2018 offseason? They brought somebody in, Ndamukong Suh. All right, Ndamukong Suh pretty much complimented Aaron Donald. And what happened with Aaron Donald's stats? They went to the roof. He had like 20 sacks.
Ridiculous, man.
Just reading all the talk, I think I'm going to be fine with whatever we do in the draft because it seems to me, yeah, I'm one of the best player available guys. Obviously it's to a certain extent, but it looks like to me that Dan Quinn is about to take the guy that they have rated highest on their board. I don't want to move up to take anybody and move and lose picks. If we swap picks with somebody, I'm fine with that. If we go up to get Ed Oliver, just shows me that Dan Quinn thinks he's that guy. But I personally see us moving back in the draft versus moving up. If anything, I think we'll move back. I don't really see us moving up. And like you done, I would like to get a bigger guy. But I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna trust whoever we get, and I'm thinking we're gonna get the guy we have rated highest on our board, and we know all. We're pretty sure the 5, 6, 7 guys that we're looking at, we know who they are. So we're interested to see who that guy's gonna be.
Yeah, like I said, people keep saying that we moving up. We're not trading up. The biggest problem with the Falcons, and Dan Quinn have went on record and said this: we do not have any depth. So why would we want to trade?
Lose picks.
Why would we want to trade up and lose picks that could potentially help our depth problems?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't like to do that. Like I said, if we swap picks, I wouldn't be upset. But I don't see us moving up to lose picks. If anything, I can say I see us moving back. If anything, I see us moving back if we think we can get the guy that we like a little later and pick up if we move back, if I see us move back on draft night, I'm going to immediately think that we're taking DeAndre Baker and we're going to try to get a defensive tackle in the second round. That's what I think if I see us move back.
No,
because I'm thinking if we move back, that's going to make me think that Dan thinks he can get a D lineman later.
No, we're not getting no DB. Oh,
that's what I'm saying. If we move back,
we get Dexter Lawrence. If we move back into the 20s, we picking Dexter Lawrence.
Are we going to get Dexter Lawrence at that, or are we going to get him early in the second?
Man, it's questionable if he's going to be there in the second. To
exactly.
Be honest, yeah,
it's a round adjusted pick. That's what you need to look at. Like in the 20s. So you get him when he's available.
I think
it's like we did in 2016 with Keanu Neal. Keanu Neal was supposed to be a day 2 person, and we picked him with the 17th pick overall.
Yeah. Like I said, I think we'll stay pat, but if we move, I see us moving back versus up. I don't see us moving up.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of moving up, man, just simply because I think whoever we trade up with is gonna want a king's ransom. I think a lot of Falcons fans, want to trade up for Ed Oliver, and that's fine, but the issue is multiple teams like Ed Oliver that's behind us. There's always some team that's gonna look at him and be like, I can draft this dude, make him the face of my franchise on my defense, build around him, and I'll have something special. And the issue that I have with that is if you're moving up the draft Ed Oliver, to me, that's telling me that you view Ed Oliver as a cornerstone player for your franchise. He's a guy that you want on your team for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
The problem
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say the problem that I have with that is we already have that guy on the roster in Grady Jarrett. So if you're going to use all of that to go up and get him, to me, subliminally, you're telling me that you're not fully invested in Grady Jarrett for the long term.
Exactly. That's what I'm about to say. That's the same thing I was thinking.
Saying though we know we're about to pay Grady, it seems to me if you go up and get Ed Oliver, you think he's better than Grady. Like if you trade up to get this guy, you think this guy is instantly a Pro Bowler, instantly an All Pro. Day one, he comes in as a starter. You're doing things like anytime you go up and get a guy, obviously you're gonna plug him in. That lets me know you think this is the best guy in the draft.
Right.
I don't know if we believe in him that much.
Yeah, that's my only issue. Like I say, man, as far as Ed Oliver, the prospect, I love Ed Oliver, the prospect, man. His athleticism is elite. I just look at him, and I feel like he's a guy that's gonna, when he gets to the NFL, he's gonna need work. And I feel like he's also an emotional guy. He's very, very similar to Grady, man. It's that he plays with a lot of emotion. And to me, I don't think the Falcons have the foundation on defense to control that. And it's kind of interesting if you think about it, because if the Falcons were really high on Ed Oliver, who's the one guy that they would have retained in free agency to help channel Ed Oliver's energy to the field in a positive manner?
I mean, you getting that Bruce?
They would have retained Bruce Irvin.
Yeah.
Because Bruce Irvin has been there. Bruce Irvin also plays with a lot of emotion. I mean, y'all don't remember the Seahawks' second Super Bowl that they was in? And New England, after that pick, man, Bruce Irvin got ejected like with 3 seconds left in the game. Because he plays with a lot of energy and a lot of emotion. So he's been in the league for a hot minute. He would be able to help control him. The Falcons didn't even offer Bruce Irvin a contract. And Dan Quinn has gone on record as saying that part of the issue with his team is leadership. And he is looking for guys either on his roster or via the draft that can step up and be leaders, because the leaders that we had on the roster, once they got hurt, the whole entire defense fell apart. So to me, that in conjunction with Dan Quinn publicly stating he's going to work one-on-one with Beasley is his project. Regardless if Beasley's going to be here next year or not, Beasley is Dan Quinn's project. So why would Dan Quinn add yet another project? Like I say, Ed Oliver has a lot of potential, man. I think in the right scheme, that's right structure, I think Ed Oliver has all pro potential if he can get all the small things down pat, and if he gets in a system that can help him to channel his emotions onto the field. I just don't think that system is Atlanta. I think if you draft Ed Oliver, Dan Quinn's going to have a lot on his plate that he's going to have to deal with. He's going to have to deal with Beasley. You got to understand, a lot of the guys on this defense are lone wolves, man. A lot of these dudes are super athletic. A lot of these guys are just ballers, man. They want to go out there 100 miles per hour and just play. But the problem is, in the NFL, you got to talk, man. You got to communicate. Somebody has to be like, all right, man, cool. You get this guy, you get this guy. Oh, man, the tight end is lining up over here. Let's shift the D-line. Let's do this. Let's do that. Falcons right now don't really have those guys that can facilitate that type of thing. Now, Grady is just now coming to his own as a leader. You know, he took Sonata under his wing and things of that nature. But, you know, Grady and Tack, those are some young guys still. So asking those guys to all of a sudden be this leader and, you know, worry about the other guys around him is, in my opinion, asking a lot. I just don't think the structure is there for Ed Oliver to be successful in Atlanta, especially if things start going south Teams start losing games. He struggles as a rookie because all rookies struggle. He starts struggling. He starts feeling down on himself. He starts letting his emotions come out. To me, man, like I say, if Dan Quinn drafts him, I'm cool with him. I love him as a prospect, but I feel like the structure is not there for him. And that's another reason why I'm so high on a guy like Christian Wilkins, because while Christian Wilkins' ceiling is not as nearly as high as Ed Oliver's, I view Christian Wilkins kind of similar to how I view Jonathan Babineau. Dude's going to be a solid guy. He may never make the Pro Bowl, but he's a solid contributor that's going to give you 100% effort at all times. He's a leader on and off the field, and I feel like he's a guy that he can rally the guys around him and make them better. And to me, we already have the pieces on the team in Grady and Tack that still have yet to see their full potential. I feel like you add a guy like that, man, who can hold his own, a guy that can help rally other guys, a guy that you can just punch into the lineup week one, not have to worry about him. I feel like it will make those other guys around him better.
Exactly.
And that is when the pass rush is going to take that next step.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Hold on. We got I want to say some hello to people in the chat. That GA boy 17. How you doing, man? There's no negativity going on. He also said he thought the NFL was going to join on and partner with them. I think you're talking about the AFF.
Yeah.
Oh, Lieutenant Dan, he on too. He in the chat. How you doing, Lieutenant Dan? Yeah, he pretty much said like Baker, like he said he should have came on the show.
I'm not saying
we gonna have you on next time, Lieutenant Dan, man.
I don't think that's what we're going to do. If we move back in the draft, I'm going to think that we're going to do something funky. If we pop up there and I see in the draft the Falcons are moving back, I'm going to think that we're going to do something funky.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at y'all's chat, man, and I see that Georgia boy 17, man, he was talking about it's plenty of big D tackles if they get Ed Oliver. I don't think I ever mentioned size. You know,
I did. That was me. I mentioned that.
Yeah, to me, man, size, I mean, it matters to an extent, but I also feel like, listen, man, if you got the coverage on the back end, if you got the guys on the front end, you know what I'm saying, that are technically sound guys that can control the gap, that won't get pushed out the way, then as long as you rally to the football, your run defense will be all right. It's not going to be elite, but it'll be just fine. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I didn't really mention size too much when it came to Ed Oliver, man. That's not really 100% my issue with Ed Oliver. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So you two guys like Christian Wilkins. So we had it on what we talked about when we had Lieutenant Dan on, we ran down our mock draft. So if we do that in the first, Real Pattman, what do you like in the second? If we go Christian Wilkins in the first.
Oh man, to be honest with you, man, I'm a huge Zach Allen fan.
Okay.
I think Zach Allen is a man, and I'm gonna tell you something that Zach Allen brings to a defense that we don't have. That's IQ. He's a smart dude. I was just reading an article on him earlier today, and he talks about he has trained himself to get his arms up in the passing lane. And like you think about that, you're like, okay, defensive linemen, they should put their arms up, but how many actually do? That's an instinctual thing to know that I can't get home rushing the quarterback. You know what? Cool, man. Let me just drop back and just throw my hands up in the air. Zach Allen is 6'5". He's got a lot of length. And he's a guy, man, that if he gets in the pass lane on a short quarterback like a Drew Brees, he could bat that bad boy in the air, turn to an interception. He's a very, very smart guy. He's not going to blow anybody away as far as being a pass rusher, man, but he's a rock-solid guy against the run. Very, very smart dude. You're not going to run screens on his side of the field because he's going to identify those screens and he's going to blow those things up, which is something that, again, man, when you have a defense full of athletes that want to go 0 to 100, they're attacking, man. That's all they want to do is get upfield and go get the quarterback. Guess what? Like another example, you got Ed Oliver. He's attacking. He's attacking. If I'm an offense, all I got to do is throw a screen pass. He's almost touched my quarterback. The running back has the ball. He's 15 yards down the field. You know what I'm saying? You got to be smart and you got to be able to identify those types of plays. And you got to be able to say, okay, man, I'm not going to beat this right or left tackle. Man, you know what? Let me just stop, put my hands up in the air, and potentially force an interception, pass deflection. I mean, it's a win. If you bat the ball down, that's a win for you on that down. So,
I said this before a couple weeks ago when we discussed this. The thing about getting Ed Oliver is, Grady Jarrett is undersized and Ed Oliver is undersized, and we play Dion as undersized. We already have trouble stopping the run. So to add more undersized guys to where Dan Quinn, I mean, my thing is stop the run the ball. That's my philosophy. And, Dan Quinn has already addressed that we had problems stopping the run. To add another guy inside that's undersized, that just doesn't seem like a good equation to me. So that's why I don't think that we add the undersized guy, because it just like I said, doesn't fit the scheme. It doesn't allow Dion to do what we're about to pay him big money to do, which is roam and go scrape. If D linemen are getting pushed back to him, he can't roam and scrape.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean, and I mean, if you look at the foundation, the doctrine behind this defense, when Pete Carroll was in Seattle, he said multiple times that his primary goal, number one goal for this defense, was to stop the run.
Exactly.
Now, whether that's Dan Quinn's philosophy or not, I don't know. Maybe Dan
Quinn's everybody. That should be every team, especially as a defense coordinator. And he's a D line. He specializes in D line. That should be his number one priority, is to stop the run. We've been struggling with that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we've been struggling with that, and that's Lawrence in there. We know they can get out to the quarterback, but they also we saw the film when they played at Clemson. They did a great job at stopping the run. So when you put them on our D line, we're not gonna be giving up 100-some yards, a game, because that's what we did last year. We played a lot of teams, and we gave up a lot of yards on the ground.
Right. Now I see somebody in your chat was talking about Sanat. I don't think anybody forgot about Sanat. We all know that Sanat's going to have an expanded role next year. He's going to play 3 tech and he's going to play a lot of 1 tech, man, especially in the defense. The problem is this, man, when you have a ton of nickel personnel, all the team has to do is put you in base defense. They go and they run 12, 13 personnel, 21, 22 personnel. Put those big boys on the field. You got to take that DB off the field to put a linebacker in there. You're not going to have your pass rushers on the field in heavy set personnel packages, because they're going to get blow off the ball and they're going to give up lots of big runs. So that forces you to put those bigger guys for the run, those run defenders on the field. Now, like I said last time on the show, probably the issue is last year when we put our big people on the field, hey man, they couldn't get to the quarterback. They were okay. They were okay against the run. They weren't anything to write home about.
Yeah.
The problem is they couldn't get to the quarterback.
I agree with that. Definitely.
If you can't get to the quarterback with your base personnel, you're pretty much like, the great Vash Lombardi always say, you dead as fried chicken. Because the Saints did this to us, I think, the second time we played them. All they did was, hey, man, we're going to put big people on the field and we're going to throw the ball while you're in base. Couldn't stop it. Once you go nickel to stop the pass, once you go nickel, we're going to run the ball on you. We had nowhere to stop it. So I understand exactly what you're saying.
And then I don't understand why, I guess, Marquand Manuel saw in training camp that maybe Vic Beasley and Tech were the greatest thing since sliced bread, because we don't stunt. We don't run any twist games. We don't stunt. We just rush 4 guys straight up the field. We don't loop. We don't twist. We don't do many of that, lots of that stuff. So our pass rushers, like I say, it's easy to block a guy when I know where he's going to be at. He's gonna come right around here every time.
Right. And this is why I don't like. And I'm, this is my opinion again. This is why I don't like DB coaches as defensive coordinators, because they forget about the D line a lot. I think a great defensive coordinator would be a linebacker coach or a D line coach, because they know what to do. Your core, is your D line. You don't have a D line and you don't know how to coach up your D line, then your team is not going to be successful. Your defense is not going to be successful.
And a big thing.
How you doing, Brazilian Skills? How you doing, Brazilian Skills? Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Skills in the building, my man.
Yeah. I was gonna say, definitely Real Pattman hit it on the head 100% earlier too. When the team that runs the ball most in the game, a lot of time won the game. They were able to keep the ball on the ground. They didn't have to pass. So like the Real Pattman said, if the other team is up 2 or 3 scores, it's going to be tough for us to generate that pass rush anyway, because they're running the ball. And then when we're undersized, they can just keep running the ball 5 and 6 yards a pop. Guess what? We don't have to throw it. We don't have to throw it. So that great pass rusher that you got, you can keep him over there in the garage. We need that big run stopper, that big ugly up here, because that great pass rusher, keep him on the sideline, because guess what? We're not going to throw the ball.
Right. And again, I'm going to just clear some things up, man. I'm not a proponent of Christian Wilkins just because he can stop the run. He's a run defender. I'm a proponent of Christian Wilkins because he can also get to the quarterback as well. Yeah. That's the very underrated aspect of his game. Actually, folks are just now realizing that man can get to the quarterback. And there are even some people talks of him potentially going in the top 10, man. But a lot of that is just speculation. But again, he could get to the quarterback, man. And he's a perfect guy that he could come in there versatile as well. Another check mark in the Dan Quinn block. He's versatile. He's a guy, man, you could put him out there at end. You could put him out at 1 tech, 3 tech, in the base, or nickel, and he can still go get the quarterback. But he's also very good at stopping the run. So that's why he's my number 1 guy. You know what I mean?
We had a guest join in. Lieutenant Dan, you on with us?
I believe so. I think I'm in here.
Hey, surprise guest, my man.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Dan about to blast me for my baker tip.
You don't even hold on 1 second. Hold everything. Let me make sure. Is it up? Is my video up? Can y'all see me?
You.
All right. Let's get this over with. Let me
with your Oregon
blasted
t-shirt
snake.
On,
let me chop that head right off. Be gone. All right. Here we go. No. What I wanted to quickly state, and what I wanted to quickly say, because I was listening to you guys, which, by the way, amazing show. You guys are doing an awesome job, and continue to keep up the good work. And I can't wait to actually be on your show in a different format from Wes. And by the way, we're really, really close to the draft too. So it's gonna be a lot of fun as we get closer and closer to that the prophecy coming to be fulfilled for Dan Quinn's defensive draft, the entire draft being nothing but defense. But the point I wanted to make was the way that the Falcons have set things up. And I mean, you can go look at it from 2015 until now. We're not trying to do anything different than the way we've been doing. We've always been getting Dan Quinn guys that are oriented to be with Dan Quinn and do what Dan Quinn's looking to do. And the reason why I want to state these years and years of drafting is because if you look at the years of drafting coupled with the free agents that we have acquired up to this point, you start to see a little bit of a trend. And if you can't, kind of see that trend with your glasses on, please don't go and try to go adjust them. I'll tell you what's going on right now. There's every single year that the Falcons have been around with Dan Quinn, there's always been a big man that has, even if he's slightly undersized, he's always been a space eater, a 1 or 2 man wrecking crew, and commands a lot of attention, whether that's Babineau or whether that was Dontari Poe or whether that's Robert McClain. there was always a guy that they paid money, and Babineau had already kind of been with the team, but the point is they always had a guy that they paid good money to eat space. Always. Because you play off of that guy. Without question, you play off that guy. Pat was just saying it just a little while ago. So not to piggyback what he was saying, but you always have a bigger guy next to the guys that you have to open them up. Because if you look at everyone that we have right now, and Pat had already said it, so I'm just going to say it one more time. Everybody that we have right now is lone wolf mentality. Pass rushers already here. The pass rush is already here. Tack's already here. Vic's already here. If you don't like him or not, Steven Means showed us flashes last year. If you don't believe in him, go look at the tape again. He has a skill set that he can use. Sanat is a slow project, but that's one of the guys we're building for the base defense. We're trying to build that back up because what did we have before then? Derek Shelby and Brooks Reed, Robert McLean and Dontari Poe. And did any of those guys do anything? You determine that for yourself. You determine that for yourself.
Was,
yeah. So we can go McLean. Brooks, Dontari Poe. Even we can say Dontari Poe and how great he was with Atlanta, not as impactful. Why? What had happened to Dontari Poe up to that point? Even Jonathan Babineau, Battleship Babineau, the guy, the legend. He's a Falcons legend. That wasn't the guy that Dan Quinn needed. None of them were Dan Quinn guys. None of them. So what doesn't make sense is all the Falcons fans clamoring for an Ed Oliver type. Another pass rusher. When the problem here and the solution to that problem is very unsexy, but the problem here is getting that big guy and stuffing him in. It's that big guy. It's that one dude that comes in and you can play off of that guy. That's an important piece that I think we continue to forget. And now onto the Baker take. My man. Don't renege once you say something, man. Don't renege once you say something. If you say something, say it with conviction. And no. I already see you shaking your head. Don't renege. You go, Baker's one of those guys we could trade back and we still pick up Baker. Why?
That's not what I said.
But
that's not what I said.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. We can go back and go look at it. It's on YouTube.
I said, if we trade back, I'm going to think that's what we should do. I never said that's what we should do. If we trade back, I'm going to think that we're... Because if I see us trade back, it's just going to make me think that we're going to, I'm pretty sure we're going to take a D lineman. If we trade back, I'm going to think that Dan Quinn is going to think that, hey, I can get my guy later, like he did. Obviously, we're not going to wait to the fifth round like Grady. He's going to think I can get my guy later. There's another guy I think around here that I think is an awesome football player, and I'm going to take that guy. I think that the guy that he likes that much is Baker. I don't know if he's going to do that, but if he moves back, the first thing I'm going to think is, hey, we're finna make a play for Baker.
And what evidence has provided that Baker could be a Falcons target?
Just because I think the team likes him that much. I just think they like him that much from reading between the lines and seeing what I've been reading and seeing what I think. I think they just like him that much. Just personally, I just think they like him that much.
I'm just looking for a little bit of evidence. Like I'm just saying, hey, I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just trying to say that where's the evidence? Because if there's no evidence and it's just a personal feeling, then we all have to be about the facts and the truth, right?
Well, I can't point you to. Well, it's no facts of truth because none of us in the draft. But just what I'm saying. And they told you that, and Thomas Dimitrov told you on 92.9. He pretty much told you they love DeAndre Baker. I mean, it's not so many words. He basically said they love DeAndre Baker. They told us they like him.
They was at the Georgia Pro Day.
He told us they like him.
I got a high.
I mean, they were at the UCF Pro Day. They were at the Chattanooga Pro Day. They were at the Maryland Pro Day. They were at the Ohio State Pro Day. They were at many Pro Days. So I mean, there's plenty of other great CBs that are out there that also all look like Isaiah Oliver or Desmond Trufant, guys that they're looking to play for at least till 2021. Have we just suddenly? Let me just throw this out here. Have we just suddenly decided that Isaiah Oliver just is not here? Or have we just fully given up on Desmond Trufant because of what? And taking Baker, let's put it this way. Taking Baker, you're going to have to, I mean, you don't have to because then you can eat tons of dead cap, which I don't even know how you're going to pay that off because you don't really have any cap to play with anyway. But you're going to eat a lot of dead cap if you cut Trufant anytime soon until 2021. And in 2021, that's when you finally can cap him and get him off the cap and release him, let him go, let him off into the wild, go get your comp pick or whatever you do. But at the end of the day, if you draft Baker now, didn't you just waste 2 years of a first-round pick? Because DeMonte Casey's playing the slot. Dan Quinn's already said it. Isaiah Oliver is a starter. Dan Quinn said it. I can quote that. And Desmond Trufant is your starting, what is that, the left corner? Starting left corner, or am I reading the defense wrong?
Well, we also have 2 safeties coming off of injury who we aren't sure who we aren't sure exactly where it's going to be. So there could be a chance that DeMonte Casey has to go back to free safety. So we do still have 2 DBs that we're unsure about.
So we're going to play Baker in the slot. We drafted a first-round corner to play Baker in the slot.
He play outside. He play outside.
Who's playing slot now?
I don't know if Isaiah Oliver could play slot. I don't know.
No, he can't. He played all of his years in college on the outside. He was drafted specifically by Dan Quinn to play the Robert Alford role. Oliver is going to be there in that spot, and you're not putting Trufant, your number 1 corner, at the slot. What? He's a trailing corner. You need somebody that can play great man-to-man when you do that. You need somebody with great range to be able to play a grown man's game. By the way, Chauncey Gardner from Florida said slot corner is a grown man's game. We can also take that evidence right there that he said it's a grown man's game. You got to have real skills to play this position. We can take it from DeMonte Casey, who said free safety's boring. I want to play corner. Put me at slot corner. Put me at any corner. That's basically what he said last year. I don't have to paraphrase. I can go find you the quote. So you don't waste 2 years of DeAndre Baker or any corner whatsoever in the first round. You don't waste 2 of their years sitting behind Trufant or sitting behind Oliver. You can do that with a 4th round corner.
Hey.
You can wait 2 years and go into 2021 when Oliver is ripe and ready, if he's still playing at a high level, and then you can go draft a number 1 corner in that draft. Is it just me, or is it that corners in this league, or just to be different, corners in this league are such a hot commodity, and yet if you look around the league, they're treated like running backs. There's tread on those tires, and then eventually they're not worth it.
Yeah, expendable.
Hey,
they're
like I said,
corners are the running back of defense.
Hey, it's all opinions.
You don't need a great corner.
You came on this show and told me that we would trade Vic Beasley. And also, so, we all have hot takes. You told me we trade Vic Beasley on this show. And also tell me who predicted Keanu Neal and who predicted we draft Calvin Ridley last year. Show me the people who predicted that. So what I'm just saying is the organization
I predicted Keanu Neal already, so I'll throw my hand up there. And then
you are the only one.
No one went out there and predicted Calvin Ridley, because that was an internal struggle between not only Steve Sarkisian. You can ask Pattman. We went into a long discussion about this in the Discord, hashtag Discord gang boys. But we went into a long discussion with the Grounders about how look at what the internal struggle was, because we know that Sanu's not going to be here for much longer. We had to draft somebody. We had to draft somebody with an impact. And we also knew that the Falcons were looking to add themselves either a top-notch linebacker or a top-notch safety from that class, and yet none of those pieces fell to where they wanted to fall. And we have evidence to prove that by the picks and how they fell. and also the language and the people that they looked at during the draft process of 2018. We know that for a fact.
And we also know for a fact that the evidence shows us between those two picks that, hey, they're willing to go outside of the box of conventional thinking of what all the experts think they'll do.
There was no outside of the box of conventional thinking. The conventional thinking was already there. That was plan B, C, D, E, F, G. Because if you look at how the team is built and you look at how the picks fell, you understand that the linebackers, the defensive tackles, and the safeties that they all went
Yeah,
gone.
That was BPA.
So the last time the last idea that they had in the chamber before saying, screw it, let's try to trade down or get out of here, was Calvin Ridley falling to them because of A, Steve Sarkisian knowing exactly what he's all about, and B, Calvin Ridley can be a number 2 wide receiver in this on this team right here because Mohamed Sanu's at the end of his contract with Atlanta. That was all in the cards. That was another piece. That's called 4-dimensional chess.
So, Real Pattman, so what you're telling me is if the pieces fall, the organization has shown us they will pick the best player they have rated. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure.
That's what happened.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
What happened last, like to me.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's what happened last year. That's what happened last year. This year, we pretty much in the middle of the pack, okay?
I'm pretty sure that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the pack, and if I'm just gonna be honest, if Christian Wilkins is taken before 14, we're gonna trade down. We're gonna trade down, and
back,
I believe in the 20. Huh?
You mean back? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna trade back in the 20s. We're gonna probably trade with a team like I don't know, Seattle or Dallas or some team, that's in the 20s. And when we pick in the 20s, if this is my prediction, it's going to be Destin Lawrence. It's either going to be Destin Lawrence or they may, if Destin Lawrence gone or whatever, they may pick Dalton Risner or somebody like that.
Man, I got a hot take for y'all, man. I think there's a greater probability the Falcons draft Devin Bush than they drafted DeAndre Baker. If I'm being honest with you.
Hey, you already know. If
I know.
we get Bush, man.
They like the kid from Clemson too. I know they like the cornerback from Clemson too, because Dan Quinn told us. Not Dan Quinn. Thomas Dimitroff. He said that he liked him too. He said that on 92.
About Mark Fields.
I forget the kid from Clemson name. The cornerback. I don't know. I forget his name.
Trayvon Mullen.
That was him. Yeah, Mullen.
But again, if you look at the list that we've compiled, there's at least like 7 or 8 corners at this point, and most of them look like either A, Ed Oliver, or B, look like Desmond Trufant. And those are the types of corners that they want to have on this team. I'll pull up my list if you want me to. I'll give you the direct list, the link to it. But we have not talked, nor have we had any communication whatsoever, meetings, pro day, nothing. We haven't done anything with DeAndre Baker. There was no evidence whatsoever that we would go and talk to him.
We were at the pro day.
We were at the pro day, but we didn't talk to him.
Oh, okay.
We were at Georgia Tech's pro day and Georgia's pro day and Georgia State. We were at the local pro day where we brought guys in and had them come and work out with us. I have all the lists. If you want if you want the evidence, I got it for you.
We didn't do that last year with Calvin Ridley.
We actually did do something with Calvin Ridley last year. We did have him, if I remember correctly, Steve Sarkisian was at the Alabama pro day and talked to Calvin Ridley.
Did we interview him?
I think that's kind of an outlier, though. Calvin Ridley's an outlier.
Did we interview him?
Did we bring him to a 30 visit? Did we bring him on a workout? Did we take him privately to go work out on the field? Did we see him at the Senior Bowl or at the East-West Shrine game? No. We literally had a nonchalant conversation with him and said that if these players fall right here, this is all speculation, of course, provided with some evidence that we as fans can only put down and say this is as much concrete evidence as we have. We had a conversation with Calvin Ridley at his pro day with Steve Sarkisian being there. And that's all the evidence that we have.
We did have his coach on the staff, so I will concede that is a big his former coach on the staff. I will concede that is major. You don't have to interview him as much if you have a guy who knows him like that.
Yeah, so, that's with Ulbrich. Yeah. Ulbrich, the linebackers coach.
Yeah,
we only saw Tack once. We only saw Tack once. I think it was an official 30 visit. We used an official 30 visit on Tack McKinley. He came into our facilities. He worked out. He told us about his injury. He had a few discussions. Jeff Olbrich had worked at UCLA, come back over here, said, that's the guy that you want. And we traded up to go get him. It's the same thing with Deion Jones and Vic Beasley and Grady Jarrett and Keanu Neal. There's always a connection. There's always a connection to every single player, whether it's somebody currently on the staff, somebody that knows Dan Quinn personally scouting these guys, bringing them into either Florida or when he was working with Seattle in some way or case. Because remember, when he was working in Seattle, I can't remember who the guy is, it's a special teams coach or a scout or something, that we brought one of those members of that staff down here to have someone familiar with Desmond Trufant. And we actually started talking to some of the Washington players, but never pulled the trigger on any of the Washington players because of how the board fell. I want to put it this way without getting into any more arguments or any other hot debates that we have. Putting our opinions aside for just a second on who our favorite players are, how we think the team needs to be built, it's always about a connection. It's always about who you know, not what you know. You get what I'm saying? And so with that in mind, there's always a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan, all the way to Z. And those plans, we don't know. But the Falcons are not so dumb and I literally mean retarded. I'm going to use that word right now. The Falcons are not so asininely dumb that they wouldn't have multiple plans for multiple scenarios and have a scouting department working on all of those scenarios and possibilities. How this all goes down. And I think I had a discussion with a grounder a couple weeks ago that told me, actually it was Mad Mike. Mad Mike told me that, hey, coaches don't have time to think about all of these extra plans and whatnot and plan way, way down the road how things go on. They have to plan for the now. They don't have a lot of time. The owner could fire them tomorrow. Well, coaches still have to have a yellow brick road to follow down to get to the ivory towers. That's just how it works. You can make a 10-year plan and go, this is the way and steps that we're going to build things and get cut the next day, but you still got to have that 10-year plan. And I'm not saying that Dan Quinn's planning for 10 years down the road, but I am saying that Dan Quinn definitely has a plan each and every time he goes in there. BPA is a fallacy made up by draft nicks and those who sit on their couches picking boogers out of their nose and eating them and saying that's without any intelligent thought whatsoever. A team will go into a draft and pick the best player available. And then they put the little tag on that with an asterisk that says any player best available on their draft boards. That's absolutely insane. That's insane. That's no critical thinking whatsoever.
I call them Mel Kiper nights. That's what I call them. Mel
Cheers, dilly dilly. It's insane.
Yeah, you gotta my thing is I look at the team, I look at our team, and I see what we struggled last year, and I see what holes that we have, and then that's when I make my judgment. And I say, okay, well, we need this person. But I also look at the skills and see what's that.
Randy Gregory just got a new deal
with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today.
What? Excuse me?
You gonna smoke it up?
Oh man, Vach over there probably just rolling around in his grave like, my boy did it. My boy did it. He got a contract.
Hey man, hey, it is what it is.
Big ups to him, but we know the history and we know what's going on happening with that. But anyway,
can I throw something at you guys real quick before I get out of here? Because I want to leave you to your thing. But Deuce Wyndham, huge Saints YouTuber. I know him personally. Well, not like I know his kids or anything, but the man just said on YouTube Live that he would do anything to win a Super Bowl, even if it meant cheating. as long as it was within the confines and had not been specifically taken out and labeled as a cheating act, he said he would do anything to win a Super Bowl.
They cheated in 2009.
What does that even mean?
Welcome to Saints football, everybody. Welcome to the Saints fan base, boys. Welcome to the Saints fan base. Woo!
They got me started. They did this in 2009.
Oh, and he admitted things that when the Saints won the Super Bowl are illegal now. They would have never won that Super Bowl, but because they actually crossed that line and did what they did, that's when the NFL finally put up the plug. So he said, find whatever way you can to cheat and get a Super Bowl, and it's good. It's as long as you get that ring.
Man, I hope they don't win nothing else.
Oh man.
Oh man. Oh well, I'm out of here. I took up too much of your time. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, man, you good. Anytime. Appreciate it.
Rise up, stay grounded. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your show. Kill it, and I'll talk to you guys later.
All right,
Dan.
Ruben, how you doing? Glad you joined us tonight. That boy on 17 said Bounty Gate 2.0.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Oh man. But it's right now, these next couple of weeks, it's gonna be a lot of speculations on what the Falcons are gonna pick, and if they go trade up or trade back, and I don't know. Like I said, we don't know. But I'm just gonna make I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I'm gonna say we're not trading up. We're not gonna trade up and lose picks. No. We can stay at 14, or we can trade down and gain more picks. Those are possibilities right there. So
yeah, man, I agree with whatever. Like I say, man, what we talk about on here, we try to be as honest and factual as possible. But also, man, we're also fans too. We don't know what this team's gonna do. None of us are, see Dan Quinn or Thomas and Meachop on a daily basis to ask him, hey man, what's going on with the team? All we're trying to do is provide multiple perspectives on why certain things could work and why they could not work.
Yeah.
And again, man, we don't know, man. The team could trade up, they could trade down, they could stay back. But I feel like whatever Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff do, I feel confident that they are going to have a plan, at least. And if that's Ed Oliver, if that's Cody Ford, if that's Christian Wilkins, I feel confident that they're going to have a plan as to why they picked that player number one in the first round.
I 100% agree. I feel confident, and I also feel confident we're going to get at least 2 good football players in this draft.
I'm going to sit up here and say we're going to get at least 5.
Whoa.
We got 8 or 9 picks.
Whoa.
We have 8 or 9 picks. If we draft Christian Wilkins, that's 1. Okay. And we potentially get Dexter Lawrence in the second round, which I don't see that happening. And then we get somebody like Zach Allen. That's 2 or 3 right there. And then on top of that, and then I'm gonna say 3rd round, I want Anthony Nelson. And I think right there, if you get those 3 players right there, those 3 or 4 players right there, we pretty much have fortified our D line for the next few years.
I think that's rare because most of the time, first, second round guys, you expect those to become starters. 3rd round guys, you expect to contribute. But anybody after the 3rd round, I think it's a hit if they work out.
But you got to think about this here. Last year, okay, we drafted Olakun and Sanat in the later round. They did well. The year before that, 2017, we drafted KZ in the late rounds. He did well. All right. 2016.
No, I'm saying it'll be great. I think it's rare though. I think we've been lucky there. Yeah, I think we've been lucky.
That's not always the case.
But with the history of Dan Quinn and how he's been drafted, he's been he's been drafting well. Now Duke Riley, players like Duke Riley, Collins, and other players like that. They didn't work out for us. But like I said, any draft, even in the first round, can be a hit and miss. It's all about how you develop players. And if you're
all about the scheme.
yes, it's all about the scheme, the system. Are they a good fit for your system, and can you develop them?
Yeah, I mean the reason why Dan Quinn's been so successful via the draft is he doesn't draft guys just to draft them. Like a lot of teams will, once they get to day 3, man, they're just like whatever, man. Whoever the top guy is, I'm just gonna draft him. But Dan Quinn specifically draft guys to fill a specific role that he's already predetermined before the team even drafts them. So because of that, he's able to hit on a lot of day 3 guys because they come in already filling a role that they were very, very successful at filling while they were in college. So that's why he's kind of created a now, like you say, they're not all going to work out. Like Duke Riley, he was a day 2 guy, but he didn't look all that good. Maybe he could turn it around with Quinn putting hands on him one-on-one. We don't know, but
he gonna make him and Vic do Oklahoma drills all day. Lay on the back and get up and hit each other all day.
Oh man. But the way Quinn has designed his defense,
my money on Vic Beasley.
But the way Quinn has designed his defense, he's designed it so that he can insert a guy in to do a specific role, and they can give him high level. I don't want to say high level, but decent level. I mean, look at Brian Poole, man. Brian Poole, undrafted free agent, started his rookie year. But because Quinn put him in a position to be successful, he was serviceable for us for all those years until obviously he left to go be with the Jets.
And did Brian Poole play in the slot at Florida, or did he play outside?
I want to say he played both.
He played slot, but he also played safety too.
He did play
all over the field when he was at Florida.
But I don't want to get on my Poole soapbox because he didn't cut it for us, man. I'm sorry. His cover skills was not that good. It just wasn't. Like I felt like he should have played safety. They should have put him at safety. But we already had, 2 pretty much, in my opinion, all pro safeties already on the team. Yes, they got hurt last season, but Ruben said something. All the Falcons are missing is a solid, tough, and that's the D-line and O-line. We have the skill positions covered. Yes, and we agree. We do have all the skill positions covered. We just need to get some people on the line, on the D-line. I think our O-line is fine. We may draft a guard just to get depth, but or an offensive tackle. We don't know, about Ty Sombrello. We gave him the money, but we don't know if that's going to be a long-term fix for us. But as far as the defense go, we have the pass rushers already. We just need somebody to come in, to eat up blocks. And you thinking about adding a person like Ed Oliver to eat up blocks? He's not designed for that.
Yeah, I saw this on Twitter, man. It blew my mind. This dude said we should draft Ed Oliver so that he and Grady Jarrett can eat up blocks free up Tack and Beasley. And when I saw that, I had a massive headache because I was like, that makes no sense. So you want your $15 million D tackle and you want to trade up to get another D tackle, and you're just gonna have them eat up space?
That's just like this is like saying you using a Range Rover as your work truck to haul hay and mud. That's not what it's designed for.
Yeah.
That's not what it's designed for.
Patman, me and you actually got in a debate over this on Twitter, but I think we were saying the same thing, but it was one of those Twitter, we weren't understanding each other because we were typing. My thing with that is tackles block Vic Beasley, though. Anyway, when is a tackle going to come down and block Grady Jarrett anyway? So that doesn't even make sense. Like, a tackle is not going to come help out on Grady Jarrett and not block Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley is going to get blocked by tackles, running backs, and tight ends. So that doesn't even make sense. You never see a tackle go down and help pass protect on a 1 technique or a 3 technique. Like, that doesn't happen. So that whole take was like I agree with you, Pat, man. Like I agree with you. That whole take doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
And here's the thing, man. It's like we said earlier. I think folks have an unrealistic expectation for how Ed Oliver will fit in this scheme. Ed Oliver, if you draft him, he needs to be the pinnacle of your interior pass rush. You need to put a big man next to Ed Oliver, similar to how Grady Jarrett is. A bigger man that can do dirty work, that can free him up to be one-on-one so that he can take advantage of a guard and center with his athleticism and he can go and penetrate and go get the quarterback. If you got him being that guy, you're setting him up for failure. And I think Falcons fans want this man to fail because they keep talking about him and Grady eating up space. And no, man, one of those guys has to be attacking. The other guy has to do dirty work.
Exactly. Because if you got both of them doing dirty work, like who's going to be getting pressure up in the middle? People got to understand that. Like like I said earlier in the show, that's why the Rams brought in the Ndamukong Suh to do the dirty work. We know how dirty and nasty the Ndamukong Suh has been for the past 10 years, I believe. And what Aaron Donald did, he pretty much had a field day last season, 20 sacks. So, Falcons fans, you guys got to understand that.
Whip a guard all day.
Yes, like you guys got to understand that Ed Oliver is not the answer. If we draft him, like I don't really see, with the future of our like what we're going to end up doing. Because if we draft Ed Oliver, that means we're not paying Grady Jarrett after this season.
Yeah,
he's going to walk as a free agent.
It's one of those things, man. It looks really, really good on paper, but practicality, it's not really that practical, in my opinion. Because like I said, when I look at Ed Oliver, I don't think he's a guy that's year one he's going to hit the ground running. I think kind of like Marcus Davenport from the Saints. I think he's gonna struggle a little bit to handle the speed at the NFL level until he adjusts, and I think it's gonna be an adjustment. I don't think you drafting Ed Oliver not for 2019. I think you draft him for 2020 and beyond. You know what I'm saying?
And we know we feel we built to win now, so that just like you say, that doesn't fit the equation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So well. We got a few more weeks to the draft, and just want to make an announcement that we are planning on doing something draft night. Probably do we're not going to go live on YouTube, but we'll probably do like a hangout chat. Have anybody who wants to be available, they can I guess RSVP through our social media accounts. We also have our own. We also have our Facebook, I guess, chat now. So you can come holler at us over there on Facebook as well if you have a Facebook account. So we're growing, so slowly but surely we getting there. And everybody that's in the chat, I appreciate y'all showing out tonight. Let me read some more. Lieutenant Dan still in here. That Georgia boy 17 said, to be honest, I don't even think Ed would be an option to draft. The hype on him is going up. He might be a top 5 pick. And hey, if that's the case, hey, that's fine. I'm just gonna be honest. We're gonna end up having a lot of upset Falcons fans that's gonna be complaining draft night.
Of course. I'm not. I'm pretty sure I'm be happy.
Yeah. Look, as long as we ain't drafting no wide receiver, as long as we're not drafting a wide receiver or running back.
DK Metcalf. I think the only thing that would shock me, we went DK Metcalf. I think that would be the only thing which I'm 99.999% sure we would never do. I bet the house on that.
Yeah, we don't do that. Yeah, if we get a linebacker, I'll be okay. I'll say, okay, well, hey, they might use him for a different purpose or something like that. Or they, who knows? But we just got to wait and see. And that being said, Pattman, glad that you can be on with us tonight. Go ahead and plug information.
Oh yeah, man. Before I plug my stuff, man, I got one more thing, man.
Go ahead, man.
For the folks out there, man, what the Rams had with Sue and Donald was special, man. Ed Oliver is not Sue. Sue is a much bigger guy. Sue compares more to Christian Wilkins than he does to Ed Oliver. So, don't take it that we trying to say Ed Oliver can be sued. Ed Oliver is more like Grady Jarrett type of guy.
He needs to play next to a Sue.
There you go. He needs to play next to a guy like Sue. You know what I'm saying? But man, y'all can reach me at the Real Pattman on Twitter. Man, I'm always on there posting some random numbers. I spend a lot of time on Football Outsiders and PFF looking at data. My only thing is, man, I'm just trying to find what this team is doing, what they want to do, and try to find ways for them to get better for the future.
Yeah. And man, this is the fun time for me. I love these talks leading up to what we're gonna do in the draft. I love to see what different teams need. So this is the fun time for me, and I'm just enjoying all the speculation on all the teams and what they're gonna do.
Yes. All right. Well, we're not going to be recording this Sunday. This pretty much it's our Sunday episode. There's a lot going on. Final Four and Hawks. The Hawks. I guess they last week they're going to play their last game, I believe, next Wednesday. So there's a lot going on this weekend, but we will be back next week. I want to say next Thursday. Brad Rowland from Peachtree Hoops is going to be on. We're going to talk about the Hawks, and we're going to also review the Final Four games. So,
speaking of the Hawks, man, them boys, they beating the Spurs 90-86 right now. Third quarter just ended. Hey, them boys are going to be special, man. I'm telling you, let them get Zion Wilson. It's going to be a wrap.
Man, like I said
no
before,
RJ Barrett. That's another show coming up. As long as we don't get RJ Barrett, but that's another show. He's not that guy. All right, man. Everybody, y'all have a good evening, man.
I appreciate y'all. Once again, come holler at your hometown
Sports Podcast.
We out.
All right.